All right, I'm Matthew Adomatis. I'm with the marketing group for the industrial business unit of Calgon Carbon. And this is...
Hi, everybody. Christopher Evans with Savvior. Nice to see all of you. Thank you for being here, and thanks to our sponsors and the Tech Council for having us.
This is not a normal, mundane pile of dirt. This is a wonderful, magical pile of activated carbon. We have a $500 million business based on this seemingly simple pile of dirt, but this cleans the air that you breathe, the water that you drink. It's used in gas masks for the military. It cleans up Superfund sites. There's actually a company in the UK that makes underpants out of it for odor control. So it's truly a magical substance. Since 1942, Calgon Carbon has been collecting data on the applications, the uses, the varieties of activated carbon. We're run by scientists and engineers. So every day we collect this data and we use it for new customers, existing customers, to solve their current problems. So even if they're very simple problems like treating wastewater from an industrial facility, and they seem to be very similar, there's a lot that goes into this, and that's why we collect all the data. So as a marketing manager, I needed to have a new project to help do things a little bit differently, a little bit better. I wanted a tool or an application that was able to provide our customers with a fast solution. And part of my job is also to make them want to buy. So I want them to buy, I want them to keep buying, and I want them to be so happy buying from us in our relationship that they tell everybody how wonderful we are. So that's a big task, but really that's our ultimate goal, right? Is to create a connection between the customer and make them, a partner, a friend, and someone that will actually promote you. So in our industry, it's fairly simple. Everyone says they're a customer, whether they are or not, but they say they need help. They have a problem. How do we solve the problem? And our answer is always, it depends. There's too many variables to just give a quick answer, right? And that's why we collect the data. So that we have all these variables we have to consider. We look at these, and then what do? Right? We have our data. Since 1942, Calgon Carbon's been collecting data. Every day we collect it. But that's good, because this makes us the best in the industry. This is what allows us to give the best solution to our customers. But, like I said, we're all run by engineers and scientists and technical people. There's a giant wall between this data and the customer. It's not easy, right? There's a bottleneck. We like to keep it close, right? Because that's what we are. We're the solutions provider, so we keep that. But that's not always the best way to do business now, because people expect different things. So we thought of, okay, well, we need to create something, a tool. We need to do something, and it has to be useful, right? But it can't be 100%. You can't give everything away. But it has to be useful, or nobody will use it. It has to be easy, because nobody has time. Nobody's going to do anything complicated. It has to be a two-way communication tool, right? The data. You have to be able to give someone something, but also you want feedback and you want that communication link. It can't be one way. Security is always an issue. It needs to be a path to sales, because a tool's good, it's useful, but ultimately you do want to make some money off of people. We say we don't, but we do, because we're all in business. And also we need to be able to control it. We need to be able to distribute it correctly. You need to be able to turn it off if you have to, and you need to make sure the data is being used in the right way. When I first started on this, I wasn't sure how hard or easy it would be to get something like this created, but I was 100% sure it'd be hard internally, and I was right. The hardest point is the first one, is if we give everything away, if we give the customers the data, they're not going to ever come and talk to us. Well, that's not true. I always say, well, how much do you pay to use Google? But they don't like hearing any kind of discussion around that. So that's one thing we need to work through. They're always worried whether the competition gets it. And I understand that, and that's why you have to have security involved in distribution. But also, I try to tell our engineers and PhDs that the competition probably has more information about us than you know. They worry that they're going to use the data wrong. that's always a concern, but we give this data out anyways, but it's not in a nice, easy, quick tool. We give this data out, piece by piece as people call in and ask questions. It's just not very efficient, and there's a lot of roadblocks. It's not the way we do things. That's true. We don't do anything like this now, so it's a little bit new for our company. And the last point's also a big one, because they think everybody calls to ask the questions, and we're involved in every single project that goes on in the world. And it's true in some respects that there are people that do call for every little thing, but that can be a problem because they call us to get our data, but they call if they just want to do a feasibility study, if they want to just do a quick estimate, if they want to run something by us. So that ties up a lot of your resources. And the other point is we don't get all the calls. I know that people do these calculations using the data that they get on their own, or they just make estimates because they don't want the long discussion, or they don't want to answer the questionnaire. So they do it. So we don't find out about a lot of the projects until a little bit further down the road. So I had this idea. We have all this data. I have all these questions and concerns, right? So the next step I did was I called the Pittsburgh Technology Council and said, look, I'm trying to do this. What suggestion do you have? And they said, okay, perfect. We got Savvior, talked to them, talked to Christopher Evans. So I went in, I had all these. I had basically just a big bundle of problems. I walked in, threw it on their desk and said, all right, what can we do with this? Is this even feasible? Is this scope something that can be done easily? Can you address all these internal concerns? And they lined it all up, and one by one we started going through it. They set it up, and they were making it very easy. And I'll let Christopher start talking about what they did.
Thanks so much, Matt. Are we on here? Okay, thank you. Thanks so much. And obviously a huge thanks to the council for remembering our name and the good work that we do. It was really quite funny the first time we met Matt. He said, do you think you can help me make carbon sexy? I said, I don't know about that. And he told me about the underwear, the carbon underwear. And I said, this is interesting, a little different than what we've done in the past. But in all sincerity, we have a lot of experience with companies like his, where you've got great folks on the marketing and business side who have some really innovative ideas on how to reach customers and aren't necessarily sure how you can take all those great ideas and turn into something that's quite tactical and quite practical. Well, that's what we do. Keith, our founder of the company, is in the back there, and I jokingly call ourselves SEAL Team 6 when it comes to these types of challenges. We love it, and we've done quite a bit of work for it. For those of you who may not be familiar with us, we're here in Pittsburgh. That's the Penn Brewery. Cannot take credit for the beer they make downstairs, but we make great software upstairs. It is a very cool place. For some reason, clients never mind coming to visit us, and our developers never mind going downstairs. But this is what we do. We're senior tech nerds, friendly packet nerds who help solve these kind of problems for companies like Calgon Carbon, mostly of the web and mobile nature, and of course, most importantly, integrating back to big data. As you've heard a lot today, big data is the talk. These are some of the folks that we're working with around the country. What you may see on there is representative of both large and small companies, private and nonprofit. What is the common link between all that is they have business challenges, and we're there to help solve them, and working collaboratively with their internal teams, and most importantly, with their internal systems. You don't make too many friends in this town in the IT stack when you walk in and try to change too much. So let's play nice with what's already in the sandbox and make sure we can really deliver a tactical solution. I think it's kind of important to note, because we've been talking a lot about big data, how do you unite the goals of the CMO, or the folks that really are dealing with the business problems, and at the same time alleviate the burdens of the folks that are there trying desperately to service their needs as well as the internal IT needs of the company. We like to view ourselves as kind of a bridge. We really sit down with both sides of the house and understand what the challenges are and what the opportunities might be, and come up with ways of getting something to market quickly that serves the needs of the customers. It's a real burden to the CIO. You know, the CIO wakes up in the morning, his or her life isn't always happy. You've got your annual projects that you're trying to knock out. You've got the inevitable business emergencies. And then you've got great creative folks like Matt and his team who are going to come knocking on the door saying, hey, I need this done by Wednesday. Can you get it done? It's a real problem. What do? Do you ignore the business emergency? No, you can't do that. Do you ignore the annual projects? Of course not. You wouldn't be there very long. And do you say no to innovation? Do you say it can wait? Can't wait. So that's when guys and gals like us come in and try to, really make things happen for the business. This is a slide that was shown to me on my first day at the company a while back that I've grown to love. These crazy icons right here, when you take a look at almost any business enterprise of a certain size or scale, you have these systems. You have the needs of the web and of mobile. I want an app. I want to do things with an app. I want our customers to be able to fill in the blank. One of the things that we talk a lot about at Savvior, and we challenge back to Matt and other clients, is don't just build an app for app's sake. Don't build something just to say you have it. Make sure you're able to connect all the way through to where the data resides. So that's the way that Savvior approaches big data. We want to make sure that these types of systems are not just superficial, but rather serving the business in deep ways. So you can really understand your customers, understand what they need and how they want to get that information, and then build beautifully designed products that either your customers or your internal team members want to use. It's how you really build brand evangelism internally and externally for these kind of products. So now Matt's going to talk a little bit about where the rubber meets the road on the app that our team has built.
Okay, so we are very close to being finished with the app, and it's really pretty interesting, right? It's engineers, scientists would use this when they're creating say a wastewater system or a system to treat air. You could punch in the contaminant, flow rates, a couple other parameters, and then it'll give you a quick estimate. Like we said, we're giving somebody something useful. It doesn't get them 100% of the way because you really need all of our data and all of our resources to come up with the exact solution, but it's great for a feasibility, or it's great to see if our products would even work. So for all these engineers, the EPA would use it, design engineers, so it's a fantastic tool that would allow someone to very quickly come up with some estimates or back of the envelope calculations. It's a really nice way. It's a good gateway for a discussion, right? You have someone using your app with your materials, with your information, doing their estimates, and then it provides a gateway to that connection. So the estimator, right? It's a usage rate estimator. It uses all of our data that we've collected since 1942 on all these applications and different materials and contaminants. And it gives a useful estimate. It saves time. It's very easy. It saves their time because they can do it quickly. It saves our time because it's the beginning part of any opportunity and project. And it's very easy and quick to use. So we want it to be something anybody could download on their phone quickly, that they understand it. It's simple to use. The instructions are right there. So there is very little leeway on using it incorrectly. So we have the 50 plus years of all this data collecting. The really nice thing for this tool is it utilizes our data, but it's scalable, right? So we have it focused on a couple of our products to give a good estimate, but yet as we go in the future, and that's one nice thing we talked with Savvior about, was that in the future we want this to grow, right? We want it to be an app that keeps getting bigger and better, and they said fantastic. So once we have 2 data sets now, but we'll be able to continually add things to it so it gets even better in the future and a more useful tool. One of the nice things is a feature that it's able to take the next step, right? We want a connection, so they can do their estimate, but right from that estimate, they could send all that information right to us with a click of a button, right? So it goes in an email, it says, here's our parameters that we put in, here's what we're looking for, and then we can take that. So they've already gone down the path of working with us, and then we can continue to the full solution. So it's exactly what we want. They're able to do something for themselves, but then we can take the next steps and they're already down the path. Now we want it to become a routine. So anytime they have a design project, they get out our tool, do the estimate, send us an email, contact us directly, and we're already off and running. It's also going to be a great gateway to the other parts of our business, right? Not only is it a tool, but they'll be able to get our safety data sheets. They'll be able to go right to our website. Our product literature will be linked right to it. So not only that, we'll have a lot more functionality. We can push news to them. They'll be able to see information that's happening on our website right from that one app. So some of the key features, right? So we had the internal problems or questions or items we needed to get done internally. And here's some of the key aspects of the app, which is going to help that. Controlled release, right? So people were worried about who gets it, how are they going to use it. We're going to control the release. We're just not going to put it out on the site where on the through your Apple or the Android. They're not going to be able to just grab that. We're going to do a controlled release. We'll have a kill switch, so that alleviates some of the security concerns. If it's being abused or not used correctly, we'll be able to just turn it off. That's always, I don't think we'll ever have to do that, but it's nice internally for management and everyone else to know that that is an option. It's going to replace some of the ways we do things, the back and forth. It's going to really make things much quicker. This usage and disclaimers, that'll be clearly stated. That alleviates, people talking about it, whether it's going to be used correctly or not. And really, the customer still needs our support. It doesn't give them everything. It gives them a very good start, but they still need to come to us. So that's one of the biggest things. Even though they get our information and they're able to use it, it's still going to be a conduit directly to us. It's going to be fast. We'll be able to collect other useful information from it. And also, it'll be a launch pad for sales. And it's coming together to be the perfect tool that creates that connection all the way from the beginning of an opportunity all the way through the end of the design and hopefully sales.
I think the only other thing that I'd like to add to that, to Matt's point, is when you're taking a look at building a product like this, there's inherently an element of risk. Whether or not you're connecting to the right data sources, whether or not you're prioritizing and phasing properly, and whether or not you're working with a group that can really understand the specific UI, user experience, that your audience is going to really embrace. Because that's the key. We can build great software, but if nobody uses it, it doesn't really impact the business. So it really helps to work with a team who can understand your business as well as your audience for who will be using this product. And I think the UI really speaks for itself. Is will a bunch of high-end engineering nerds want to use this on a daily basis? That's the gut test. So we're really thrilled with what's happened with the product. This is a preview of a product that I can't really talk about, but I'll let you maybe you see the logo up in the corner that will be coming out pretty soon. But you kind of get a semblance of some of the companies that we're working with. One of the things that we're so very excited about, Vector Security, Art Miller, who's going to be speaking at the 2 o'clock hour, encourage you to check him out. Huge client of ours. We've done a lot of work with Art and his team for many, many years. Very interesting business also. A lot of complex problems, a lot of really interesting opportunities to reach consumers in new ways. So that's kind of what we're up to. And with a little luck, we'll be going down the hall to talk to Sue after that to be premiering a brand new product that we're rolling out. The reason that we wanted to show you this one is this is commercially available right now as we speak to companies all over the country. It's a product we call Savvy Docs, which is a mobile experience that really changes the way you get to dynamic data. It's nothing like it on the market, and it's really easy to use and beautiful. Why we show you that is because, again, in addition to building great products for our clients like Calgon Carbon, we in the Santa's lab back at Savvior are building some of our own great products too. So if you're at all interested in mobile or looking at new ways of getting to data and doing more for your customers and for your users, give us a holler. And we want to thank Matt and the wonderful team at Calgon Carbon for what's been a great relationship and one that's sure to continue for many years. So thanks very much for coming in. Hopefully it was informative, and I'm not sure if we have time for questions. Rennick? 2 minutes if you have any specific questions for Matt or for either of us.
Not even about the underwear?
Yeah, what about the carbon-activated underwear? How about show of hands? How many of your companies are looking at or have gone down the path of mobile already? Do some of you? Well, that's a small percentage. Now, how many would you say could be looking at that in the next 24 months? So you're just in here because Matt and I are cute. Okay, that's cool. Kind of used to that by now. Well, we thank you. I see a question in the back. Carolyn, thank you.
Christopher, from start to finish, when you first met Raymond, how long did it take you to
Oh, that's a really good question, Matt. I would say it was a course.
It was very fast.
Yeah.
It was a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I was impressed. I was worried that this was going to be a non-starter just because of everything we needed to address, but it turned out to be fantastic.
To that point, Carolyn, one of the things that I think we do well, that we're told we do very well, we have a process called Savvy Track. Kind of easy to remember most of our internal products and processes because it has Savvy something in front of it. We can fit anywhere in the process. Let's say, for example, Matt's team had been further on down the line. Let's say they had gone through an internal proof of concept and said, here's design, go to work. we can pick up and take it from there, or we can take it from the very embryonic stages of ideation and determining viability of a product in the marketplace, either commercial or internal. But to his point, I think one of the reasons, if you're going to call yourself a SWAT team, you kind of have to have speed on your side. One of the big reasons why companies like Rolls-Royce nationally and internationally turn to us time and time again for these kind of products and projects is unlike a lot of what I'll call big box software companies that'll take 5 years and $5 million to come up with a solution, we wouldn't survive very well in that world if we did that. So rapid prototyping and rapid solutions to market is a hallmark of Savvior and has been for the past 2 decades. Any other questions? Over in the corner here. Hi.
Does the relationship continue on and go forward? Does it evolve?
Yeah, absolutely.
Subscription model, or how does it work?
Well, currently it's a finite, but we have other plans as far as advancing and expanding the app.
That's a great question. There are products like Savvy Docs, which I showed you on the last screen, which are oftentimes a subscription-based, because that's an IP owned by Savvior type product. But in products like this, it's really a custom build. It's like coming in and having a suit made or a shirt made. You pay as the product's complete, and then it's your product. But I think, again, the key is to the relationships that we have with folks like Matt. While it's a relatively new relationship for us over the past year, you've got guys like Art and others in town here who we worked with forever. So there's always opportunities to kind of pull us in and sort of put our team in place when you need us. It's the advantage of having an entire team of design and developers at the ready that know how to do this kind of heavy lifting. Any other questions? All right, well, I want to thank you for joining us. Hope it was informative, and fill out your comment cards if they still do those things. And online, they'll probably be doing it.
We'll take our
And
socks.
thanks a lot. Thank you. Yeah, we'll take our socks and go. Thank you, CDW, for the great socks.